Hello, everyone. It's Greg Harrelson here with my co-host Abe Safa, and we're coming at you one more time with the Myrtle Beach Real Estate TV broadcast show, and just going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the local real estate market here in Myrtle Beach. So, Abe, glad to be at it again with you.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. Looking forward to this conversation as always.
Yeah. Now I know that you have some numbers. Okay, you always do, and I'm interested to see what those numbers are showing. But before we get into that, I just wanted to share with everyone that just in the last week or so, or probably the last 2 weeks, I have personally seen an increase or received an increase in the number of calls and emails that I'm getting from condo owners, people that own condos down in the Myrtle Beach area along the Grand Strand, who are finally starting to kind of look at their year-to-date rental numbers. And of course, because of COVID, the rental numbers, are not nearly what they were. I mean, there's been times where people have said, oh gosh, my rentals have been doing very well. And maybe they were. Maybe there was a stretch of 1 month that they did very well. And but now that people are looking at the, of 11 months of numbers, they're starting to see they're significantly down. I was just talking to an owner who owns a 3-bedroom oceanfront unit and said that his normal rentals, gross rentals, are $50,000 a year annually. And right now, that same 3-bedroom so far this year has only brought in $20,000, and we're approaching the middle of November. So we know that there's not going to be a tremendous amount of increase in numbers between of November and December. The rentals are going to be quite low probably. So, that's a significant drop. And the reason I bring this up, Abe, is because usually following these conversations, the reason they're calling me is they're asking me, hey, what is the sales market like? Because, they can no longer afford $3,000 negative cash flow on that condo. They're tired of throwing all this money away, and they're now thinking about selling. So who knows, that might, throw us or throw some additional inventory on the market, at least the condo market. We may see that pick up. Are you hearing anything like this yourself, Abe?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely having more conversations with condo owners, especially on the oceanfront, about whether, the usual question is, what do you think 2021 is going to look like? Yes. Do you think we're finally going to see appreciation? Because, people are hearing in the news all around the country that the real estate market's on fire. Yeah. So a lot of times people just associate that with the market being on fire, that everything in the market has to appreciate. And unfortunately, that's not the case, especially with the condo market here in town. We're just not seeing the appreciation there. When you look at a graph at the single family homes, how much they've appreciated over the last 6 months alone, it's insane. But then the condos are still flat. So the conversation is, look, do you think we're going to see appreciation at some point? And more people are considering selling now because, there was a really tough couple of months during COVID, but then people got optimistic when the market opened back up. They're like, okay, maybe we can save the year. But when you look at an 11-month spreadsheet at that point, it didn't look very good for a 2020 rental numbers.
Yeah. It's interesting that people are asking us, though, do we think the property is going to appreciate? And of course, this is, again, with specific to condos. And the reason why I say that is because, the reality is if we look back a year or two, the property values have been appreciated, right? It's not like the condo market has just been stagnant. It's been dormant. It's by no means keeping up with pace of the residential market. The residential market is just appreciated extraordinarily. Right. But the condo market has appreciated. And I think a lot of times when people ask that question, they're asking the question like this. They're saying, hey, I bought this property in 2006 for $300,000. The property now seems to still only be at $290,000. Do you think it's ever going to go back up? Well, what they're forgetting is that property that they bought in 2006 for $300,000 went down to $175,000 at one time. And it's been fighting its way back up all the way up to $290,000 for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So if you look at it, that would be extraordinary appreciation based on the low point, but it would not be appreciation based on purchase price. And I think that that's an important thing, that the properties have appreciated. And those of you that think that maybe it hasn't, it's probably because you're judging it based on your purchase price. And I understand that, but it's appreciated based on the low point. That's what's critical. And you got to remember, the condo market, it relies on rental income. And the higher the price that a buyer has to pay, typically the more negative cash flow they're going to have, because the rentals are pretty much stable. And so there's a point where people say, you know what, I'm not willing to pay but so much negative cash flow. And when the properties go to a price that pushes that at a higher level, then the buyers just pull back and stop buying. So there is a balance between, cash flow and price. Again, not in the residential market, because these are people's homes. They live there. Cash flow is not an issue. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we are getting more calls on that. And it's something we've been talking about for a couple of months now. Like, we really expected the condo inventory to be increasing right now.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't been. And that's kind of been boggling our mind. Like, why haven't we seen the usual trend of that increase? So maybe it starts now. Who knows? We'll know in a couple of weeks how that changes.
Yeah, we will. You had mentioned something to me I thought was worth talking about also, and that was, it just seems like that more and more people are moving down, to the Myrtle Beach area. What are you seeing or hearing on that front?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, we've always, the last few years or so, Myrtle Beach has really become a great destination for retirees. So a lot of people are coming down here. Last stat I looked at was, I think 40% of our population right now is senior. Yeah. So it wasn't like that 33 years ago when I moved here. So that number is really increasing. So this has become the destination, and especially since COVID, that number just seems to be going through the roof as far as how many people are actually relocating down here.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the traffic, I was thinking about the traffic today, and it's November, and it feels like it's practically the beginning of or middle of November, and it seems like there's not a big difference in the traffic right now in Myrtle Beach and the traffic in a summer month. Now, of course, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. The summer is going to be, especially on the boulevard, it's going to be, a lot more traffic. But when you look at, let's say, the bypass and Business 17, I mean, there is so much traffic, and that just tells me there's just more people living down here on an annual basis. And no wonder why the residential market is doing so well. And, not only do we have a low inventory, but we've got high demand. So we're really stressing the market in two areas. Number one, low inventory. And number two, high demand, which is exactly why the residential properties have appreciated so well. The other thing is we need to keep our eyes on interest rates. I've seen in the last couple of days, in the last week, interest rates have started to increase. Now, let me share, even with the slight increase, it's so low. But I saw on the news that sales, in the last week, new sales actually had decreased across the country. And usually there's a correlation between interest rate increases and new purchases. So again, we'll keep our eyes on that. But I know you've got some numbers that you want to get to. Why don't you start sharing some numbers with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive in. I'll put these up on the screen right now. So single family homes across the board, again, very consistent numbers. A little over 51% of all the homes that are on the market right now are under contract. And I promise you, it feels even tighter.
Yes.
As soon as I listed a home yesterday, within 2 hours we had an offer, and I had 3 more calls after that someone wanted to buy it. Yeah. So I mean, inventory is super tight right now. And buyers are just waiting, like they're waiting for homes to hit the market. As soon as they do, as long as they're priced within a reason, I mean, they're jumping on them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a backlog. I mean, there's a waiting list and especially at certain price points or certain communities. I know, like if I list a property in a community called Pressweek, There's no question that within a couple days I'll have an offer on that property, because I know that there are people out there waiting for a home to come on the market in that particular community. So there is a waiting list of buyers for specific properties. No question.
No question about that. And we can list a whole bunch of communities that are similar to that. I was looking at Southgate this morning.
Yeah.
Southgate, there's nothing on the market. Everything that's on the market right now is under contract. And you see that in so many communities right now. It's a good time to be a seller. No question. Yeah. It's a little bit frustrating to be a buyer, but it's a great time to be a seller.
Yeah. The one salvation for the buyer is the interest rate. So even though they're having to pay a little bit more money for the property, they're paying less money in interest. So it kind of balances out.
For sure. So this is the resale market. 46.5% of all the homes are under contract right now. So that's continuing to be strong. Last show we did was right at 47%. So hovering right around the 46 to 47% range.
Has this number ever been 50%, Abe?
No, I don't think we hit 50% on this. We keep getting close to it, but we can't break the 50% mark.
Yeah, but still remaining very strong and very consistent.
Extremely strong and very consistent.
Okay.
Let's look at new construction real quick. Let me pop that up on the screen.
Wow.
So that's a strong number. And again, I have to emphasize, this includes to be built, right? So it's really, I actually took out the to be built earlier, and I was just going to show that number. It's actually 80-something%.
Wow.
If you take out the to be built.
Yeah.
So extremely strong number, new construction. People are just buying whatever home that they can find right now.
Yeah, and that also probably, has a lot to do with what you just said. You put a property on the market, within 2 hours, you had it sold, right? Or you got an offer. Because if you take the to be built out, and then we say that 80% of new construction is under contract, the existing buildings that can be sold are under contract, then that tells me that any buyer that's considering new construction, the likelihood that they're going to have to wait a good 8-9 months before they ever get to move into that home is highly likely. So, there's a lot of people that are moving down. They've sold a property, say up north, they're moving down. They can't wait 8 or 9 months before they get in the property. They don't want to enter into a lease on a rental home. They want to actually go from one home up north to one home down here. And so again, that's fueling the activity on the resale side.
Absolutely. Let me give you another example. Some of these newer communities right now where, say someone bought a home about a year and a half ago, but the developer's still in there building new homes. Those types of scenarios, the buyer that had bought the home a year or so ago has been getting killed because they've been having to compete with that new construction the whole time. So if they've been trying to get out of that home, they've been losing, right? But now these developers are running out of homes. So someone comes in, looks at a home, and then realizes, okay, we'll have to pick out the land and then build a home. And it could be 9-12 months down the road. They're going to these resales. So now these owners are able to bump up their price to match what new construction is, and sometimes even higher than what the new construction are, because there's no options for these buyers out there.
Yeah. So they have availability. So they're able. So what you're saying, I think, and what I'm hearing you say, is that existing homeowners that have a resale home, one of the things that they can leverage is availability. So there's a value in availability.
Absolutely. And so there's been people where they couldn't sell because they just weren't able to get the price that they want.
Yeah.
Because of the developer. But now many of those are in a position where you can sell because you can get new construction prices because there's no new construction homes available.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, okay.
All right, let's dive into the condo market. We're going to see that's pretty strong as well. 36.12% of all the condos on the market on the contract. That's 1,110 units as of this morning. So again, it's a really strong number. Last 2 weeks ago was 35.84. Still holding strong, surprisingly.
Yeah. That's I mean, the 1110 pending or just so there only being a little less than 2,000 condos on the market available for sale, to me is quite amazing. And we'll see. Again, I have a feeling this is going to be one of the numbers that starts to shift a little bit. And I'm not talking about a decline in pricing. I just feel like inventory is going to start piling up a little bit.
Going up, yeah. Yeah, and 2,000 units. That sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. So you're talking about everything on the oceanfront, every condo on every golf course that's available.
Yeah.
Condos outside of golf courses, condos in Conway, Longs, Little River, down to Myrtle's Inlet. So this is the entire market. That's not a whole lot of properties.
No, I agree.
Okay, this is specifically the oceanfront, 23%. This really surprises me that this late into the year, into November, that many of the units are under contract still.
Yeah.
But it's a function of the total inventory being so low. Only 1,490 units on the market right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's people out there that are still keeping their homes up north and in other areas, and they're buying these condos, and there's people that are justifying buying these condos right now and saying, hey, look, I'm going to buy the condo. I can work remote. I'll come down for a couple months, work remote from my condo, set myself a nice little office up in that condo, and then in the summer I'll go back home and rent it out. So it's the interesting thing that's kind of hard to factor into these numbers, but I just have a feeling it does factor in, is that the people's mentality for buying has shifted. I mean, where somebody may have said in the past, we're only buying an oceanfront condo just for some vacation time. Now they're saying, well, gosh, we'll get some vacation time, but I can work remote from there. Plus, we're going to rent it out during the summer. There's some additional reasons and motivations to buy these condos. And I have to believe that that's influencing the sales.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, we even seen some of these condos be a transition property for people. They want to move down here. They can't find a home. They're buying a condo in the meantime, almost like a stepping stone until they find the home that they like. Yeah.
Seen that also.
Okay. And then finally land, you'll see that that's still holding strong as well. 17.14%. That number was 17.05 2 weeks ago. So still pretty much everything across the board, very stable, very strong. Lots of buyers out there. I mean, it feels like with the amount of showings that we're getting on our listings, it feels like it's summertime still.
Yeah.
There's not much demand out there.
Yeah, that's incredible. Again, and with the new construction, having its challenges or lacking of inventory, and resales lacking inventory, it's just a natural progression that people would go to land. And there's more and more spec builders right now that are confident that they're going to be able to sell their homes, so they're buying lands and building even though they haven't got a sale already. They may not have a buyer yet, where before they would wait till they had a buyer and then they would build a home because there was no risk if they already had the buyer. But now they're willing to buy the land, go ahead and put up the house, and just go and take the risk of it selling. And quite frankly, because inventory is so low, they're doing fine. They're actually doing very well right now with that strategy.
Absolutely.
Well, there we have it. There's another the numbers. There's another week of Myrtle Beach Real Estate TV. Abe, I appreciate it. If anybody is out there and you're thinking about selling or thinking about buying, or just have questions regarding the real estate market or real estate in general, please reach out to give us a call. There's our cell numbers on the bottom. We're here to be of service to you. We come to you each week with the Myrtle Beach Real Estate TV with the intention of making sure that you're informed and that you understand what's going on in the market. We show data so we can kind of back up what we're talking about. We don't want to just tell you things and hope that you trust us. We do hope that you trust us, but we also like to show you things so you know that we're speaking from data, we're speaking from fact. Abe, thank you so much. We'll connect again next week.
Enjoyed it, Greg.
Yep.